Severe weather is going to be a story certainly this afternoon, and so we've brought in Glenn McGillivray. He's the managing director from the Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reduction, because there could be some significant losses in situations. Roads aside, personal property as well, your homes, businesses even could be in for some problems tonight and even into tomorrow. What would you say to people or suggest to people that they can do at the last minute, I suppose, at this point, to sort of try to protect themselves?
Yeah, well, basement flooding is very common. It's a problem right across the country. We're going to see a lot of water flowing today. And so it's a little too late to get down and get into some really structural, permanent things. But I think the first thing to do would be to get downstairs, get important things off the basement floor, especially if you've had basement flooding in the past and you haven't done anything about it. And even important documents, important photos and things of that nature. All those things really should be out of the basement. And if you're going to keep them there, at least put them in the plastic bins and protect them.
So you've got the documents on the one hand, but what about you may have a sump pump in your basement? You want to make sure that's working too, right?
Absolutely, especially over the next couple of days. Go down a few times a day just to make sure it's working, particularly if your pump is on a lot. Some people's pump runs almost constantly. Check it out, just make sure it's flowing properly, make sure the pit isn't being overwhelmed, make sure the pump has a float on it, make sure it freely rises and falls and things of that nature. Really, really key over the next couple of days.
And let's ask, because we've had a lot of snow, perhaps more snow than we've had in a while for this time of year. Even if it's not raining, you're still suggesting get down and check because there's a lot of runoff and melt off, right?
That's right. Water's water, whether it's frozen or liquid. And this warmer temperatures we had yesterday and this morning, it's cooling down, but these temperatures are really thawed a lot of the snow, a lot of the ice. It's just a lot of water.
All right, now I know you're not going to predict what could happen, but based on the past, and you look at catastrophic loss, as a career, that's your job, what do you think we could potentially be seeing over the next 24 hours or so?
Well, I think we're going to get out of this pretty easily. A lot of this is going to remain to the south, from what I understand. We're going to get some freezing rain if we haven't gotten it already. I don't think we're going to get a lot of it. So I think we're going to come out of this reasonably well, but it doesn't hurt to keep an eye out because you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Especially, if you live in older parts of the city, if you've had basement flooding in the past, you could see a reoccurrence today.
Let's move to infrastructure now, because earlier today we had a situation on Bayview and the bottom of the Don Valley Parkway where they were flooded, washed out. They had to close down those areas. You were saying to me something needs to be done specifically about the Don Valley Parkway.
That's right. I mean, this is a key transportation route. We rely on it very, very much in this city, and yet it floods several times a year. And something permanent has to be done. And I fear that we're going to lose people at some point. If you look at the flooding in August or July rather of 2013, it came pretty close. Something has to be done that's more permanent, I think.
That's true. I mean, you can see the roads right now. We're putting up the pictures there. You can see just the Don River has overflowed onto the highway there, the parkway, pardon me. And there you have it. And we've kind of been lucky, haven't we, that so far nothing has happened. When you talk about a permanent fix, what are you suggesting, that they need to build up around the parkway to sort of protect water from getting onto it, or just literally elevate the road?
I mean, other places have done that, elevating the road, other types of flood defenses. I mean, I'm not an engineer, but I think it's very clear that we need a permanent solution to this before we start, losing people.
Losing people, I mean, that's obviously a very serious concern. Bayview, I guess, is a little bit less of a concern because it's a stretch of road that not so many people use. But again, that area, we know in our business, as soon as the rain starts falling hard, you want to go get some flooded roads, we've got to head over to Bayview as well, don't we?
Absolutely. I mean, you can almost set your clock by it. And one of the other things I've always been concerned about is getting people off that flooded road as quickly as possible. You can't make a U-turn because of the center barrier in the Don Valley Parkway. And I think we have to start looking at things like making breaks in that barrier, the center barrier, so that people can get out of there quickly in an emergency.
That's another potential solution there as well, because you have to consider, when you see those flooded roads as well, the advice we're always given, some people ignore it, is don't drive through it because you can never tell how deep the water is.
Absolutely. You don't know what's under it. It doesn't take much to float a car. It doesn't take much to stall modern cars. And people just kind of shrug it off and think it's not a big deal. And every time at least somebody gets stuck in it.
And that's what I was going to say to you, is that you probably hear that all the time. I didn't think it would happen to me. Well, it happens to people, doesn't it?
That's right.
And it can cost you thousands and tens of thousands of dollars in terms of repairing your homes or damages. And some insurance policies don't always cover flooding too, right?
That's right. And your life. I mean, let's face it.
That's true.
So many people, particularly in the U.S., die in flash floods in automobiles because they took chances.
Okay, Glenn McGillivray from the Institute for Catastrophic Loss. Thanks for being here. Do appreciate your time. Thank you so much.